I want to start this video by taking a quote from the famous speech made by Martin Luther King Jr. in 1963. That famous "I have a dream" quote, when he said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a country where they're going to be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And that day was indeed born in America in January 20th, 2009, when a black man, an African descent from Kenya, Barack Obama, was elected as the United States president. And that day again was born just a few days ago on the 24th of October 2022, when an Indian descent, a brown-skinned man, was also elected as the Prime Minister of Great Britain, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So it simply tells you, as a matter of fact, these are people that you would generally consider, using our own template in Nigeria, as non-indigenous. Yet they were able to, rise above that stereotype and then attained the highest political office in these two countries. So it simply tells you that there's a gradual paradigm shift from the white supremacy, where the whites, they control in terms of social, economic, and political systems that, make the white people have this sense of superiority over others. That very tendencies, that vicious, racist tendencies among the whites, that thing that gives them that air of superiority over other races, that actually gradually beginning to fall. You can see the gradual shift. Who would have thought that in this time, that especially in Britain, we know the vicious racist tendencies in Britain, that one day a brown-skinned man will indeed be heading the government of the United Kingdom. But it has happened. So this is a call for the Nigerian government to stop the discrimination against non-indigenes. You can see, UK just elected, just like I said, a brown-skinned man, an Indian descent, as the Prime Minister, while Nigerian government continues to discriminate against its own citizens under the obnoxious policy of non-indigenes. A policy that makes the citizens, Nigerians, foreigners in their country. Of what use is a policy when the citizens of the country are denied access to political participation, education, university placements, employment, and other socio-economic benefits that should be enjoyed by the citizens of the Nigerian state, that are now being shortchanged by this very backward, discriminatory, non-indigent policy. A policy that has outlived its relevance and has got no business in a 21st century world, in a country that is riddled with poverty, penury, and destitution. Yet we shout xenophobia when Nigerians are attacked in South Africa, or racism when they are ill-treated in other parts of the world, whereas we are the architects of marginalization and discrimination against our own people. So this backward policy must stop. A policy that gives a sense of entitlement to some that they own the land, the community, the state, while others are made to feel like second-class citizens, foreigners in their own country, because of that label of non-indigenes hanging over their head like the sword of Damocles. No, it shouldn't be, because we are all Nigerians. A policy that is as discriminatory and divisive as this should stop, because it is so ludicrous to label your own citizens as non-indigenes and others as indigenes. It is so ludicrous to make your citizens feel like foreigners, while others feel entitled to certain privileges that should be accorded all Nigerians as enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. In fact, if I have to go back in time, about 2 years ago, there was an incident in Cross River, one of the states in Nigeria, when Justice Ikon Ikpeme, the most senior judicial officer in the state, was discriminated against and prevented from becoming the chief judge of the state, and instead her subordinate, a junior law officer, was in fact appointed to take her place. And what was the reason? That if she was given such a sensitive position, she would pose a security threat to the state because she bore the label of non-indigene, which of course was her only crime. That her mother, her husband, and all the children she bore, that they were all indigenes of the state, didn't make her indigenous enough to take her merited position as a chief judge of Cross River State. It is so ludicrous to continue in this backward discriminatory policy when indeed the Committee of Nations and other civilized societies have blurred the lines between indigenes and non-indigenes, where migrants are even considered indigenous enough to vie for the highest political offices in these countries. But here we are trying to still discriminate against our own people and label them non-indigenes.
The Constitution allows for a woman to claim both her place of origin and also where she's married to. This woman is married to a Cross Riverian and has 4 children for her Cross Riverian Efik husband. And that qualifies her as a full-fleshed and full-born Cross Riverian. And we are yet to get the full explanations as to what they understand or what they mean by security threats. How is a woman who has lived all her life in the States, how has she become a security threat to the state? She has served the state as, the director for public prosecution. She has served in different capacities. She's the most senior judge in the state, just at the point where she's supposed to take this office.
So if UK can elect an Indian descent, a brown-skinned man, as a prime minister of the United Kingdom, then why can't an Emeka, who has lived all his life in Sabongeri, in Kano states, one day be elected as the governor of Kano states? Or why can't Muhammad, that has lived his life in Lagos state, would one day be elected as the governor of Lagos state? Or why can't Babatunde or Bamidele, who has lived all his life in Sokoto state, will one day be elected as the governor of Sokoto state? If it can be done across the world, why can't it happen here in Nigeria? Why still hold on to such obnoxious backward policy called in non-indigenous policy that has not helped the country move forward? So it is so sad that these non-indigenes, no matter how strongly they identify with these communities, they contribute to the development of these communities, they can never be allowed to such political participation of becoming the governor of this state, of the state where they live, were born, spent all their life. They've been there generations upon generations, but they cannot be allowed to vie for such political positions. Considering the fact that this is the only community that they know, this is where they call home, and some of them cannot even trace their roots back to wherever they supposedly belong, because this is where They were born, they lived all their lives here, yet they've been denied the rights of certain privileges that should be accorded to the citizens of the country against the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because of a policy that discriminates and labels them non-indigene. A policy that relegates them to the status of foreigners. A policy that divides us as a people by constantly eroding the very meaning and importance of citizenship. A policy that has fueled the bloodiest intercommunal clashes, violent conflict that we have witnessed in recent times. This must stop. So enough of this discriminatory policy. It has to stop.